Time to mix in some college football with our good buddy Niall Lawrence Stample. He is our Florida State analyst, also a business owner here in town with NLS Cleaning, and he is with Rick Ballou each and every Tuesday at 7 o'clock. Nole's Cruise, no other way to say it, just complete dominant effort against East Texas A&M.
Yeah, it was fun to watch just everyone be able to get involved and the camaraderie. It was a great win.
There have been times, even when they've been really good, a much lesser opponent. We talk about Northern Alabama all the time, the Jordan Travis injury. For one reason or another, they weren't ready playing to the level of competition. That was anything but on Saturday. The first 10 times they touched the football, they scored touchdowns.
Yeah, it's an electric team. I think with the leadership that is being developed every single game, I think this is hopefully what you see consistently. But it's a big test when you go against a team like East Texas A&M to see if we're going to capitalize.
Now, how do you keep that realistic? You beat a good opponent, and it was good to see Alabama bounce back. Ty Simpson was 17 of 17 in Bama's victory over the Louisiana Monroe. I mean, you were supposed to clobber East Texas A&M. How do you kind of settle down and say, okay, big win, but there's still a lot of football left?
I think it's a big part of that is going to be the coaches kind of creating opportunities of leveling them out. And I think a big part of that is just watching the film. I looked at it. We did great. We were very dominant, but there was some missed assignments. There was some missed blocks. There was some things that need to be cleaned up. And I think that's where you want to focus on as a coach and say, hey, how do we clean these things up? Yes, that was great. Love the enthusiasm. I love the dominance as far as the scoreboard, but let's look at the nitty gritty and see how we can perfect everything.
Well, that's good to hear. So what you're saying is despite a dominant win, there's still a lot of coaching that needs to take place with this very young team only playing 2 games.
Oh, so I think there's a lot to get cleaned up. I think that there was missed assignments, there was missed blocks, there was a lot of little things that didn't really get seen just because of how dominant I think we are as a squad. But there was a lot of things there that the coaches will hopefully emphasize. And after hearing what Tony White had to say and hearing what Norvell had to say, I think that those things are actually getting implemented this week as well as going to be next week.
Now, Lawrence Stample, our guest, won a national title with Florida State, also played with the Cleveland Browns. He's our Florida State analyst here on Into the Night with Rick Ballou. 90 players play, 4 quarterbacks. They all get in. I can't imagine what that must be like for the entire program, the entire roster, this early to get all those guys some work. I mean, it's so unheralded. They get no credit for being scout guys, whatever. But I would think it would make their life that much more joyful, getting out of the rack every morning, knowing that you were a part of this victory and how much more that will provide for them moving forward with this team.
Yeah, I think when it comes to a Kent State and East Texas A&M, I think we paid them about $450,000 for them to come in and play us, right? Those things are important for development and for guys and young guys and everything, but I feel like a big part of it is going to be when you have a young player that may have gotten redshirted or they haven't developed yet and they get that opportunity. Yes, it's about showing the coach on the sideline that you're kind of ready for that, but it's really about for your parents in the stands that have been coming there for a year.
Right.
That I'm a dog, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mom, I'm a dog. I'm out here and I'm making an opportunity for myself. And when you can see it for yourself, I'm going to show it to you.
Yep.
And that's the opportunity that they got during East Texas A&M. I love to watch it, but that is the real nucleus of why a lot of these players play. So the coaches is great, but it's about mom and the aunts and the uncles that have been supporting them that can actually see this into fruition.
I
love it.
It's my only criticism, and it comes, I believe, on my 6th question. Man, I wanted to see Kevin Sperry play a little bit more. I wanted to see Brock Glenn play a little more. The way that my mind works, if anything happens to Castellanos, you're going to have to pick one of those two and immediately insert them in. I mean, I'm happy for Michael Grant. I love the walk-ons, but he got a lot of playing time. He got most of the 4th quarter. I was like, couldn't we see a little bit more out of the Florida State quarterback backups?
Yeah. I think we definitely could have saw a little bit more. I think they're, as far as divvying up some of that playing time, just because there's not a ton of it. But I also think that it kind of attests a little bit to Gus future thoughts, right? Like, where are we at in the future? I think Kevin Sperry is definitely going to be a good ball player. I think Brock Glenn, unfortunately, has kind of his role set. I think Gus wants to see what we got. Like, what do we have in the stable? Should we recruit more? Is this going to be one opportunity for us to see this guy play? So I think those are what we're looking a little bit further into the future than actually just right now.
What is amazing to me is if you look at the leading rushers, and again, there's no sample size. There's only been 2 games. But Michael Danzy leads the team in rushing, 4 carries, 109 yards as a wide receiver. Then it's Thomas Castellanos. Then it's your 6th string tailback right here out of I think he's out of Fleming Island, in Samuel Singleton. Those are your top 3 rushers.
Yeah, it's an interesting kind of dynamic, especially with obviously Sam Singleton, that big run that he got, and Danzy. Obviously, it's just kind of the way that the plays have been formatted, especially for Danzy. Those 2 breaks that he got are just textbook. Being able to show his speed, it is elite. It's almost weird to watch how quickly he's able to close ground, and those defenders just can't catch him.
Florida State, we talked about it before you came on air. I wish they would keep playing for a little while. That's not the case. We know it's the bye now for them this Saturday. Then it gets, with Kent State, then a Friday night against Virginia, then Miami. Your thoughts on the bye this early in the season for the Noles?
So the bye is going to be important. I think so when you have a bye week early in the season, it obviously it does seem a little bit weird, but it's important. You have a fall camp that is so long that as you go into that fall camp, you roll right out of it into your first game of the season. Obviously, we played Bama. Being able to then play East Texas A&M, get a break, get a real solid break, and then go into Kent State and then play regular conference play. I think the AD absolutely dialed that in because that's what you want. You have a game like East Texas A&M, you're able to get young guys out there, see if you're ready, see if you have some type of capability to be a role player this season. Then you go into the film room, you break it all down, see if you can actually fix some of these things going into Kent State. Are you coachable, right? Can you fix those things? And then roll into conference play and see if we can actually get a couple guys, kind of pull them from the bottom.
Unfortunately for Florida State, they lost Roydell Williams and Randy Pittman after the Alabama game. They did not play this past Saturday. Now you lose Squirrel White fairly early in this contest on Saturday with a hand. Reports out of God's country said that they believe he's going to be all right, hopefully Virginia, if not certainly Miami. But I mean, all of a sudden, you're down 3 starters already on offense. You've only played 2 games.
Yeah, it's something that you never really want to see. I think things can definitely be worse, right? So I think just being optimistic there, as well as being able to have this break, us coming up into Kent State, again, that kind of pushes that narrative of trying to make sure we are forcing young guys on the field. It was something that he got criticized a ton for last year, not playing enough young guys, believing too much in guys that haven't really believed in them or haven't even proven themselves. I think him making this stance on showing and putting as much young guys as he has in is really showing that he is trying to turn a leaf. He is trying to create a new narrative for himself as far as on the recruiting aspect of things, and hopefully it plays dividends down the line as far as longevity is concerned.
I didn't know Tommy Castellanos had that type of an arm. He threw a couple of bombs on Saturday.
Yeah, he did. And they were nice, especially to a big wide receiver that can actually catch the ball. Last year, it sucks. DJ wasn't good, unfortunately, overall. But even when he was good, we didn't have anyone that was considered a actual wide receiver 1. So now for us to be able to have that as well as a quarterback that can throw it, that's what we're playing football. It's a ball. It's a throw and catch game.
Yeah.
We have to be able to have both. So that was awesome to watch. I wouldn't be surprised if we see him air it out a little bit more this next
It's a really interesting time because South Florida's been really involved in this. We know they beat Florida. South Florida goes to Miami this weekend. Of course, the Noles have Miami in a few weeks. Then Florida goes to Miami next weekend. It's like all of these things are kind of adding up. I tell you what is a huge surprise for me is that Florida State has been so dominant early on, and then Florida let one go, and it's like 180 from a year ago with what we were doing with Florida State. It's the same thing the Gators are doing right now when it comes to Billy Napier.
Yeah, it's insane. It's like a full 360, and as Florida left the back end of the season, they looked great. We're like, holy smokes, next year's going to be crazy. And things don't obviously go into fruition the way that you think that they do. But all I do know is that it's hard to beat when you are betting on a horse race. A lot of people will bet sometimes on the horse. You bet on the jockey, right? You bet on the jockey.
I want my jockey puking. I want him puking before he gets on that horse.
Listen.
I want him lighter.
And Norvell it's really hard to beat something like that, to where you have someone who I think personally have always thought that is a great coach, him be under so much duress, right? Like, it's hard to beat. And then you have a quarterback that comes in and is really trying to prove himself. He has all this doubt coming from all these different areas. The perfect storm. I think Norvell has really woken up, and I think that's obviously what we're seeing here come into play. And we'll see if Florida figures out how to kind of figure things out.
Yeah, we'll see. And I'm glad you said that about Norvell, because this is this is impressive. It's very impressive. As a guy who was certainly criticized Mike Norvell, especially a year ago. I mean, him just overseeing everything that's going on is really working. And again, it's only been 2 games, so you can't get that far ahead of it. But it really feels like, Gus Malzahn in that offense and Tony White in that defense, he made 2 very good coordinator hires.
Unbelievable. And it's the time and it's the tenure, and it's also the relationships that you build over time. Because obviously Norvell was with Gus earlier in his career, and that relationship obviously stayed intact. I heard something a little earlier today as far as we're going to be moving into is going to be head coaches moving into offensive coordinator jobs or defensive coordinator jobs, because the realm and the whole aesthetic of being a head coach is now not what it used to be. You're having to pander to a lot of these players, and I think we're going to continue to see that. Gus doesn't want to deal with all of those different things and all these different narratives that they have to kind of continue to push towards these kids and these NILs. So if we're able to have more Gus's and more coaches like that fill these roles that are kind of like really simple when it comes to it, and they can kind of get down to the nitty gritty of what they actually love to do, I think it's a great opportunity. And Gus is, I wouldn't be surprised if we have Gus here for a few years.
You know what? That's a great point, because you wonder, is he going to get snatched up again? But because of what you just said, I mean, I have to believe Gus has a ton of money. So it's not a financial situation. Do you want to deal with the new way of college football with NIL and parents and kids? Sure, go out and recruit your players and just run your offense. I certainly do hope you're right. Final one for you, Niall. Your small fraternity of former Florida State players, what's the reaction been like now 2 weeks in?
So I would say, at least for the few guys that I have talked to, I think it's very much reserved. And I do want to make a point. Especially going into the season, I was a little bit skeptical. I saw some good things, but again, there was such a big drastic change that needed to be made that I'm very happy that we made it. But I am very optimistic when it comes to talking about Florida State football. But when I talk about that optimism, I talk about it on a precipice or on a point that there's got to be hard work backed up behind it. Right? Like, there's no, I think this player is going to be an impact. I think this is going to happen. That all has to happen with significant hard work coming from a coach that has to be able to push it. Right? There's nowhere in between. But I talk optimistic about it just because I feel like if Florida State is going to do something, it is going to be great in some capacity. That has to be the thing and the vibe and the energy that we are always pushing towards that program.
All right. Tomorrow morning, NLS Cleaning is power washing Ballew's homestead. Give the listeners the very latest as far as what's going on at Niall Lawrence Stample Cleaning.
Yeah. We're actually coming out. It seems like, obviously, Rick had a little bit of issues as far as the HOA is concerned.
That's a shock, isn't it?
We do a ton of HOA cleanings as far as driveways, or if the house needs to get cleaned, or any of those situations on top of businesses. So anything large or small, multi-story, 3, 4, 5, 6-story buildings, as well as your mother's back patio to make sure it stays clean for her. We are here to help in any capacity. Give us a call, 904-708-8802. Reach out to us on our website at nlscleaning.net. We would love to help. And yeah, we look forward to your call.
Good to see you. Thank you, now.
Good seeing you, Rick.